All right, we're going to talk about enrichment here at the shelter. Enrichment is a really important part of keeping animals in captivity mentally sound and engaged, and let them act out some kind of species-specific behaviors, burn a little bit of mental energy, and enjoy their daily life more. So it's a really important part of what we do. There's a wide variety of examples of enrichment that we do here at the shelter. I'm going to just show you one and kind of walk through an example of how you might work with a dog to give them the item and encourage them and kind of help them interact with it initially, especially if it's a new item to them. Because for a lot of the animals, they've never seen something like this. So they're going to need a little bit of help getting excited about it, and having a person help them is a good way to do that. So for starters, some of the enrichment items are kept in this cabinet. There's a wide variety of toys down here in all shapes and sizes. We have one sized for small dogs. So all of these are food toys where you would put food in the hole areas, and then the dog has to nose it or paw at it to get the treats out. We also have larger sized ones for larger dogs. For example, this is one that you might give to a very large dog with a big mouth that you don't want to crush or tear up a smaller toy. But this one, they need to kind of bat at it or knock it around a little bit. So do always choose an appropriate size. When in doubt, I'd say go up a size a little bit. Even smaller dogs can often play with the larger toys, but the last thing that we want is for a large dog to bite off a piece of a toy that they could swallow or something like that. And that's a good reminder too, when you're supervising dogs with toys or with any enrichment items, if they do start to consume things that are not meant to be consumed, you want to interrupt them and safely remove the item so that they're not consuming those things. And of course, if it doesn't feel safe, you can always get help from a staff member in a situation like that. So the dog that we're going to work with today is a smaller dog. So we are going to choose one of these small toys to work with the dog. And I'm going to add some kibble and some treats. The kibble that's stored here for the Kongs is kibble that you can use with any of the animals because it's the sensitive stomach kibble. If they had a special kibble, you could just grab that off the front of their kennel. So I'm going to just add a few kibbles in here. They don't need a whole meal's worth. They just need a little bit of something to play with, and you can always refill it. If they empty it really quickly and they're really into it, you can always add more and do a second round. But I just start with a few in case they aren't that hungry or they aren't that into it. For dogs that aren't on a special diet, you can also add a few treats from the approved treats. Add those to it. It kind of mixes it up. It makes it even a little bit more surprising and interesting for them. Gives a little bit of extra smell, a little exciting taste in there. So we've just got some kibble and some treats in this ball. And we're going to go ahead and take it and give it to a dog and help them play with it and interact it. Okay, I'm here in a kennel with Millie, and I've got the toy that I put some food and some kibble in, and I'm going to give it to her, see what she thinks of it, and give her a little help if she needs it in order to learn how to bat it around and get some of those kibbles out. Ready? There you go. So initially, you might have to move it yourself in order for a piece of the food to come out, and then encourage the dog to get it, point it out to them if they need it. Looks like she's picking out the treats and leaving the kibble, which is understandable. Get that. Get that. What's that? Good girl. What a good girl. Very good girl. Good girl. And keep in mind that the point of this is not that the dog masters the skill, but that they have the opportunity to interact with something a little bit new and a little bit different. So even if they don't take to it right away, if they're a little bit confused by it, as long as they're not frightened by it, then it's still a good, interesting, and enriching experience. It's something new that's been added to their environment that they have the opportunity to check out. Millie. Good girl. And it might take 1 or 2 sessions before the dog gets comfortable enough or gets the idea to where they start, good girl, what a good girl, that's very good. Where they start nosing at it, but definitely providing praise and interaction for them will help them get confident and get to that point where they're interacting with the item on their own. So that's just one example of the many ways that we can do enrichment. One last reminder, once the toy is empty or at the end of your shift when you need to walk away from the area and can't supervise the dog anymore, make sure that you empty it and remove it from the kennel. We don't want the dogs to be left with anything unsupervised beyond their Kongs and their bowls and their beds. So just make sure that you remove the toy when you're leaving the area. If for some reason the dog is beginning to resource guard the item, make sure that you're very careful, have a dog walker, take the dog out for a walk and remove it, or get help from a staff member if needed. Safety first.